Welcome back. This is the Standpoint where we'll bring you stories happening, of course, in the political space of Nigeria. With campaigns for next year's presidential election almost hitting a crescendo, the People's Democratic Party is yet to pull its house in order and mend fences with warring factions in the camp. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike, who is the main actor in the drama that has been playing in the PDP, insists that the PDP National Chairman Ayocha Ayu must step down. And Governor Wike says he has nothing against the party presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar. He says for equity, justice, and fairness, the national chairman of the party must be from the South. And joining me on to talk about this, of course, is Pearse Adetokunbo, who is, of course, a PDP chieftain and the coordinator for the Atiku Okowa in Lagos. And we'll be talking about all of this in the bid. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Thanks for being here.
So let's start. The crisis rocking your party. Your party presidential candidate has been to so many places. After the campaign was flagged off in Uyo, so many places he has gone to. One thing still remains sacrosanct for the party is to bring all aggrieved members on the table and agree on a position. And one of it is that the Governor Nyesom Wike and the G5 has not been able to come to that negotiating table and agree. Do that really worry your party going into 2023 general elections, knowing that you have five key states that belongs to your party, but right now they are not in support of the presidential candidate?
First and foremost, 5 key states are not against the party. Those 5 states from which those 5 gentlemen come from are not against Ayu or Atiku. All of those 5 states are on board with the party. Those individual governors may not be on board, but their party, the people, members of our party, and Nigerians in their various states are 100% in support of the Atiku Okowa presidential team and in support of the national chairman of our party, Dr. Ayocha Ayu. And you said yourself that our candidate, presidential candidate, has been in so many places after the flag off in Uyo. Everywhere he has gone, you have seen the support. So it doesn't really matter too much. That's why we say we don't have a crisis. We have a problem which all political parties have all over the world. That's why they call politicians here today, gone tomorrow, gladiators. Some philosophers have actually defined politics as war by other means. So you'll never have total peace in any party. Even in a family, you don't have full peace. We keep on negotiating, we keep on discussing, but I'm glad to say, and I'm sure you'll agree, that this misunderstanding with the G5, who now call themselves the Integrity Group, has not slowed us down, has not affected us negatively. When, for instance, when the leader of our party in the Southwest, Governor Makinde, said he was not supportive of Atiku and he wanted Ayu to step down, notice what happened. That is where you know where the party is going. Of the 6 states in his geopolitical zone, 5 of them came out immediately to say, we are not with you, Governor. We are with Atiku Okowa presidential team, and we are with the decision of the party that Ayu should stay.
Who's the leader of the party in the state?
In Lagos State.
No, who is the leader of the party in the various states?
In a state.
Yes.
It should be the state chairman of the party.
So what is the role?
Where you do not have a governor.
So what's the role of the governor?
Well, the role of the governor, usually what happens is, because the governor is the person who has the most influence and has the most money in every state. They have a lot of influence. But I got to tell you, in any state, any governor who wins an election did not win 100% of the votes, even in his own party during his party primaries. So if Wike is angry, is not with one position or the other, that does not mean that the leader of the party in that state, in Rivers State, is indeed in some Wike, but he does not carry everybody along with him. He never did. When he ran for primaries of the party, he did not even win 60% of the vote of the people, let alone the whole of the Rivers State people in general. So therefore, no one person, as they say, no one monkey can stop the show.
Sure.
So we continue to move on as a party.
So if you say you continue to move on as a party, I want to ask you, do you think that what Nyesom Wike and the other G5, the integrity group they call themselves, do you think that what they are yearning for is indeed a good cause?
As a person who comes from Lagos State from the south, I could not disagree with them. But everything has to be put in context. About October, I think it was last year or the year before, I was on national TV and I was asked who I thought would be the best candidate for our party. And I said, in my opinion, it is going to be Atiku because of his position on restructuring. Therefore, I took that position because that is what I felt. Now, shortly after that, I was told by some leaders of a party that, look, we are doing our best to have the presidential candidate of our party come from the South. And Dr. Pearse, please don't carry on promoting anybody. So I kept quiet for a while. I said, okay, let us see the candidate that will come from the South. And they went on, and when eventually they brought Governor Wike as the candidate. So Dr. Wike now, Governor Wike now is the candidate of the Southern leaders, some of them. And I said, okay, let's go for election. It's a democracy. If he wins, then he becomes the presidential candidate. But he went into the election and he lost. So the person who won a democratic election, open, fair election, credible election, became our candidate. Therefore, that is that issue. Now, the question of the national chairman, he went through a process. And the process was that he would go through an election. And he went through the election and he got in unopposed, supported by all of them, including Wike and the Integrity Group. So that's the done deal.
But there was a clause.
Yes.
We heard there was a clause, because that was what Wike has always been saying. He said there's a clause to it.
What's the clause?
And the clause is that if eventually you now have the presidential candidates from the North, and now that you already have the chairmanship from the North, so that means that the chairmanship will step down and they will have a Southern chairman. That's why I asked the question. Do you think that
and these are the facts.
Yeah.
Please listen carefully.
All right.
These are the facts. Dr. Ayu himself said in an interview, it's on record, we can play it today, if a Northerner becomes the presidential candidate of a party and the party instructs me to step down, I will gladly do so. That's the clause. That is the most genuine, the most honest clause that we need to consider, which Wike and his group are not taking into consideration. And it's not fair to Nigerians. Look, I'm a teacher. I will tell you as it is. If that clause had not been there by Dr. Ayu, and what? Who decides whether to step down or not? The party does. The national
Working committee
of the party decides on these issues. And this case was brought. In other words, you don't agree, I agree, let's take it to the powers that decide officially for us. When the thing went to the National Working Committee, it was decided by that committee that Ayu should stay. That should be the end of it. In my own opinion, to continue to argue otherwise is to threaten the stability of our party, is to threaten the possibility of a presidential candidate winning this election. Luckily, Nigerians are not interested in our struggles within our political family. They want to know what the candidate of the party has to offer Nigerians to take us out of the problems we have now, created by 8 years of misrule of the APC. That is what is important. Luckily, our candidate, Atiku Abubakar, has grown beyond all of this. Wherever he has gone, every single rally you have seen, I'm not telling you there were 20 million people at any rally. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Because you really don't use rally to determine the number of votes you're going to get.
Exactly.
But one thing that happens in a rally is you see that the party paid faithful are coming out. And there has never been in the history of our party so much support for a candidate. Atiku Abubakar is enjoying 90 to 99% of support within the PDP. That is the issue.
Okay. So when you say he's enjoying 90 to 99% within the party, and the aggrieved members are strong members of your party, for example, your party came to Lagos to have a presidential campaign rally.
Yes.
And the national former vice Southwest chairman of your party, in the person of Bode George, was not at that rally. Am I correct, sir?
Sure.
Some political bigwigs in Southwest were not part of that rally. How do you then reconcile that he's enjoying a huge support?
Let me explain it.
Because those are the ones who actually hold the structure.
Let me explain it to you. And I will tell you nothing, the truth and nothing but the truth. Chief Bode George was not at the rally. And because of the fact that Chief Bode George has been the leader for so many years, we who organized the rally had some challenges in how to mobilize. We are not used to it, but we tried and we had about 15,000 people. Whatever, we had a good showing. Let me tell you something. That is the only shortcoming in that rally. You know why? Chief Bode George was not there, but I can tell you, all the people who support Chief Bode George, including the chairmen who are loyal, party chairmen who are loyal to Chief Bode George, were all there. Not only were they there, they mobilized and were part and parcel of every single thing that happened in the rally. Even Chief Bode George will not dare to tell his people not to go to that rally. They will mob him. He will be in trouble because Atiku is the popular candidate of the people. Look, when the G5 came to Bode George's house a few weeks ago and announced that they were not going to support Atiku for president, what happened? They were heckled out. They were stoned. They were mobbed. They had to run for their lives. That tells you Atiku is popular. Atiku is acceptable. Our members are solidly behind him. And I tell you what, not only PDP members are behind Atiku Okowa presidency, but Nigerians in general who listen to the project, listen to the policies that he wants to adopt, look at the individual compared to whoever is running. Atiku is the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
So I'm going to be asking you this. What, in the case of your party in Lagos State, permit me to use the word, looks like it's in disarray. Why I said so? As you have different factions coming out with different stories that, we never supported the governorship candidate of our party, even though it was, from the national and all of those things. Chief Bode George has always been on the side that, there was an agreement. I had last week, I had Rottweiler, who was a member of your party, who is now the governorship candidate of Labour Party, on the show last week. And I asked him point blank, what was the agreement made? And he told me that the agreement made that he was going to be made the deputy governorship candidate to your governorship candidate currently now, Jandor. And of course, I said, you felt brave. Of course, it is. So there's a lot of internal wrangling in meeting. Do you see your chances of, with all this crisis, battling allegations of corruption, allegations of, who is who leader and who is who in the Southwest? Do you see your chances in Lagos?
Okay, I'm glad we have settled the idea of crisis at the national. We don't have a crisis.
I never said you don't have a crisis.
Well, I'm saying...
Okay, anyway, you are the one who said you don't have a crisis. But it's obvious to Nigerians that there's a crisis.
Well, look, we just trashed out the details here. Based on what I've told you, Nigerians will tell you that's not a crisis. Because what I'm saying is, if Atiku has a crisis, because of this IU problem, everywhere he goes, there'll be a problem. People will not come out to receive him with all the joy. And when people are talking about this election, don't forget, we are looking at 36 states, okay?
Yeah.
We are looking at 6 geopolitical zones. If you take it geopolitical zone by geopolitical zone, I can tell you, do the analysis. Election is over. Atiku is the next president. But anyway.
Those are permutations.
Well, yeah, based on permutations. That's all we can do. You can only permutate about what you're going to do tomorrow. You don't know tomorrow. We don't know the next minute. We can analyze, we can permutate, and we believe. And you will see. I predicted it, by the way, in 2015, that if we elect Buhari, bad as Jonathan was, we are going to suffer like we never suffered before in Nigeria. You are seeing it now. And I'm telling you, I'm predicting again now, 2023, Atiku. Otherwise, we have a problem. What's the choice before us? Is it to be or is it Tinubu? No, it's not acceptable. Anyway, Lagos State. This is what we have in Lagos State. Indeed, we are going through a transition of leadership.
In Lagos State?
Of course.
Okay.
Since Chief George is not really on board anymore, we're going through some problems. But you see, these are things we have to work out as we go along. APC has its own problems. Everybody has to deal with what they have. One thing that happened with Rottweiler is a good example of the problems that Chief George and his clique have always created in the PDP. How can you say that you have an arrangement that Rottweiler is going to be the deputy to Jandor? Who are you? Are you the one to determine, because you say you are leader of the party, who elected you leader, to be able to say that this person is going to be the deputy to this? That's not how it's done.
But Jandor also accepted at that party. He said Jandor also accepted that Rottweiler was going to be the deputy.
Yeah, he accepted because Chief George was supporting him. Chief George was his godfather. They brought him in. So he was negotiating. They are all part of this problem. That is what he should have said to Chief George. What would he say anyway? He would say yes. But he knows he himself did not go through the right process. You
mean your governorship candidate?
Yes.
Okay.
He chose this person by himself. It is not what it was supposed to be. The party was supposed to go through interviews with different people that are recommended before you eventually, a committee was supposed to be set up. So both George and Jandor, they went through it the wrong way. And we're still dealing with that now. Okay. That is why you find a lot of discontent in the party. But in spite of that, Jandor is going to win the election because the performance of the current governor is so despicable, is so unacceptable. He has made himself a personal assistant to his presidential candidate.
Okay.
He has neglected his responsibility in Lagos State and Lagosian seat, for which reason I suspect they're going to vote him out.
All right. Thank you very much. The PDP chieftain in Lagos, Pearse Adetokunbo, who is also the coordinator of the Atiku Okowa
support groups
in Lagos. Thank you very much for joining us.